I just started to record for myself. I think I've gone around to everybody and allowed you to record. Um, so now most of what you're going to see is going to be me on a screen, um, uh, showing through the GarageBand setup. I'm assuming, and also keep in mind that I haven't used a lot of other digital software other than GarageBand. And I'm not a GarageBand expert. I'm just using it for basically this simple thing of being able to put different tracks and use it as a practice thing. I haven't created a CD quality file for this. Um, so it's a nuts and bolts simple way to just use GarageBand. And as you go down this road and you get these basic tools, you could use GarageBand, I think, for more sophisticated things. It actually works pretty darn well. At this point, I'm going to mute you all. Don't take it personally. Okay, and I am going to open GarageBand and I'm going to share the screen with you. It seems like I can't really open GarageBand. So I'm assuming you can just click on GarageBand and be able to get there yourself. And I'll show you what you're gonna get when the screen comes up. So let me do this. Actually, I'm going to stop that first. You probably can see that screen, but I have to do something else I forgot to do. I'm going to do it one more time. I have to click on Zoom. This is just a Zoom thing. If I share a screen with you, I have to click share computer sound so that you can hear that. So that's a Zoom thing. All right. So, let's blow this one up. Can everybody see the screen now? The Zoom, the GarageBand screen. I can only see a few of you. Why can't I only see a few of you? Okay, I guess got to make this bigger. That's all. Okay, cool. I see some thumbs up. Great. So when you open up GarageBand, normally when I open up GarageBand, it's going to open up the last session I worked in. So I didn't really want you to see that. I wanted you to see the screen that you get if you just open GarageBand for the first time. And you have these options here: new project, learn to play, lessons, store recent. I always just use new project, and that's what comes up here. So I'll click on that. Now, I'm going to get a screen where you have the options: software instrument, using a microphone, connect a guitar or bass, add a drummer. I'm only going to use two of these options. I'm going to use the microphone, and later on I'm going to use connect a guitar or bass. So I'm going to double click on microphone. Now, you can see I have something here called Audio 1. So this is my very first track. You can ignore all the stuff down on the bottom here. None of that really comes into play until maybe much later. So you can see in this green bar that I am getting signal. I am using a microphone, a USB microphone. This is called a Yeti. Keep in mind, you don't have to have a USB microphone to be able to record. You can simply use the built-in microphone on your computer. So don't worry about that. However, a USB microphone is going to have significantly better quality. And this Blue Yeti, I actually tried like maybe 3 or 4 different USB microphones, and I like this one better than any of the others. So I do recommend this one. It's about 130 bucks. And I'll send you some notes about the gear too afterwards. So I've got this here. I've got this mic. I see I'm getting input. However, I'm not really going to use that right now. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to first lay down a drum track. You have built-in drum loops, they call drum loops, within GarageBand. This is a real bit of a weird, slippery slope as far as getting the right drum track. I fiddle around with this quite a bit, and sometimes I just can't find the right drum track. And the way they name tracks and stuff on GarageBand is not always, I find, very useful. So you kind of got to dig around within the GarageBand drum loops. But here's the rub, though, too. If you get in there and you have this idea of a rhythm that you want to play or something like that, get in there, take a listen to the drum tracks, and see what they have to offer. So to get there, to get to the drum loops, I'm going to go up here to View, and I'm going to go down to Show Loop Browser. Now, I have to move you guys, you're in the way. I have a selections of instruments. I could pick drums, I could pick, well, there's drums, there's guitars, there's acoustic guitars, there's bass guitar, there's string. There's all these options here, but I'm really only interested in drums. So I'm going to select drums. And you, like I say, you said fourth dimension beat, 01. I don't know what that is. I have no idea. I do know what a 60 shuffle drum set sounds like. And in fact, that's the one I want. I can sample this just by clicking on it. Could you guys, whoops, could you guys hear that? Could you hear the drum track? Yeah? I'll do it again.
Not really.
It's very, very low volume.
Is it? Okay.
I can't hear it yet.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah, better.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's weird with GarageBand. So it's coming through my microphone. I thought just by sharing the screen, you guys would be able to hear this. And maybe it will come out differently later, but we'll see. Okay. So I can listen, I can go around and listen to different drum beats. And to see, you know, a lot of these, I'm very much an early rock, traditional music kind of guy. So a lot of these beats are I don't know. They're probably named, you know, with the more of a modern ear in mind. So excuse my lack of knowledge about sort of more modern music. But so what I'm actually going to select is going to be this 60 shuffle. I'm just going to do the first one. 60 shuffle drum beat. So what I do, I click and I use my mouse pad to just drag it over. So now I have this drum beat on my track. And you can see the name of the 60s shuffle drum set is right there. Let's see if you can hear it better now. I'm going to turn this down. Actually, I'll do it later. Okay, now, this is a 2-measure pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? 2 measures. A little bit of musical knowledge goes a long way here. We don't need to know everything about that drum beat, but we know it's 2 measures long. And you can take a look at this top band of your track to know how long that is. It is exactly 2 measures long. Now, I'm going to need more than 2 measures of drum beat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, and I'm going to go Command, I'm on my Mac, Command C, which copies it, right? Then I'm going to go exactly to the end of where that drum beat ends, and then I'm going to hit Control V. This is just like cut and paste in a Word document or anything else you might be familiar with on the computer. It's just Control C, Control V. So now I have 4 measures of drum beat, and I'm going to hit Control V again. Notice that this is called the playhead. Playhead cursor just shows up at the end, so it's always going to put that loop of drum beat right at the end. So I'm going to hit Control V a couple more times. Now, you can see, if I look at this band here, I have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and then there's 13. So this is 12 measures of drum beat. So I'm set if I just want to do one round of a 12-bar blues. So here's my drum beat. 12 bars. There we go. And if I could record underneath that and just loop that, but by doing, I could do this. Well, I'll get to that later. But what I really want to, I want to, this is an opportunity, I think, to practice our rhythm playing. So rather than just play one 12-bar round, I want to play 3 verses. So I'm going to put 36 bars up there. So what I can do is I can select here. I'm going to hit the Shift key, select again, select again, select again, select again. I'm going to hit Command C. I'm going to move my cursor right to the end of that 12th bar, and now I'm going to hit Command V. And so now you can see where my cursor landed. I put a whole another 12-bar verse in there. I'm going to do that one more time. Now I have 36 bars. Okay? So I'm good there. Now, at this point, I should probably actually have done this in the first place. I'm going to go up to File, and I'm going to do a Save As. I probably should have done this in the first place, but now that I've got a little information in there, this is the way I am with files. I tend to like create content and go, oh, I should save now. So pardon my bad computer etiquette. And I'm going to call it something reasonable like Pete's 12-bar blues exercise, EX. Save that. And that there should be a folder called GarageBand on your computer, so it'll save that in a GarageBand folder. All right. So now I've got all this. I've got all these drums here. Now, the drums sound a little fast to me. Let me listen to it again. Okay, so that's a little bit fast. I want to slow it down. So all I got to do to slow that down is go up here. This screen sharing thing is getting in my way. I'm going to go to tempo. This is part of the metronome. I'm going to double click on that, and I'm going to put it down at 100. All right. Now let's see how it sounds. Perfect. I like that. Set the tempo before you put any other tracks on. So when you put your drum track down, it's going to give you whatever tempo that loop was created at. So, but you can alter it, and it's not going to alter the sound or the quality of your drums. However, if you do it later, when you've already put your instrument down, the quality of those tracks will suffer. So, just try to remember that. All right, so I got my drum tracks. Now, I'm going to create a new track for my guitar. And I could plug straight into an audio interface. I'll talk more about that later. But I'm going to create a new track. So I go up to track, and I'm going to go new track. I'm just going to go new track. And I'm going to select that microphone again. So I'm going to do that. Now, I have audio 2, and you can see I'm getting signal through my microphone. And I'm going to get ready to record a guitar track here. Make sure that the above the track is not selected. If you look at that, I've selected that. It looks different, right? It's a light gray versus a dark gray. I'm just toggling between those two tracks. So this light gray one now, it is seeing signal coming through the microphone. So if I hit my record button, which is this red button up here, if I hit that record button, I'm going to erase that track. And it'll become pretty obvious because I won't hear the drum track. I want to hear the drum track when I record my next instrument. Now, so what I'm going to do here is I've got this record. I can see that I'm getting signal. I'm an electric guitar here. Now I'm going to tilt this down a little bit. Like I say, this is not a guitar class, but you might want to see what I'm doing anyways. And I'm looking at this bar to see how much signal I'm getting. Signal meaning the amount of audio is going into the system. It's a little bit loud, so I am going to turn it down just a tad. I want to avoid getting into the red. Like, here we go. I'm in the red. You can see the red. Sorry about that. Hope I didn't blow out anybody's ears. I want to make sure that that's a pretty good level. So I want to make sure I have enough level, but not too much. And there's a lot of wiggle room there. You can always bring that audio up later after you've recorded. Okay, so now I selected this. I'm going to name this. You click on that, double click on that, and I'm going to call this Guitar 1. So now I know exactly what I have, what I'm recording, and what it's going to be. I am actually going to turn what you heard from the audio before with the drums. You probably won't hear it as I record. You notice I'm using headphones. I want to record over my drum track without my drum track bleeding into my microphone. So I need headphones. Make sure there's nothing coming out of my speakers. So I'm going to turn the volume down. What you heard before, was coming through my speakers. So for some reason it wasn't. Actually, let me do this again. Let me just play the drum track. Let me know if you can hear it. No. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. Well, too bad about that. So I've turned it down, but it's going to be coming through my headphones. So I'll be able to play along with it. So when you hear me record, you'll hear my guitar, but you won't hear the drums. When I play it back, you will. So bear with me for a second here. I'm going to play 3 verses of a 12-bar blues. Actually, you know what? Before I actually do that, I'm going to turn this up because you're going to hear something. When I hit the record button, do you hear those 4 clicks? Click, 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 click. And then the drum track started. So this is what GarageBand does for you to give you a count into your drum track before you actually start playing. I can also wait 2 measures into my drum track if I want, just to make sure I'm feeling the tempo. But you wouldn't have heard that when I turned it down and recorded my guitar. So I just wanted to play that for you. So now I'm going to hit the record button for real, and I'm going to record my guitar track. So you can see I was recording because there was a red band in that track. And we also see the signal that came through. There's that waveform that's going on in there. Now I'm going to turn the volume back up so you can hear what it sounds like with the drums and the guitar. Everybody hear that all right? Yeah. So I'm playing a 12 bar blues, a key of E. This is not necessarily, you don't need to know that, but that's what I'm doing. You'll notice something about the sound of the guitar. There's a lot of room sound there. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's kind of a little echoey. Since I'm only using one microphone and I'm using it to talk to you and record, I'm a fair amount of distance away from my amplifier, about 6 feet away. If I was actually just recording and not talking to you, I would put the microphone closer to the amplifier and probably turn it down a little bit. So just so you know, that sound, more room sound. Now if you have a bunch of microphones and you want to blend some of that sound in with others, this is more sophisticated kind of recording techniques, but you could do stuff like that. It could be, there's no real limits to what you can do with GarageBand. I'm going to stop there for a second, and I want to see if anybody has any questions. So feel free to just unmute yourself.
Hey, Pete.
Yes.
So when you do the original drop down, and there's the 4 choices with drums, piano signal, et cetera, you chose voice, but you modified the voice. You didn't choose guitar for guitar. You choose voice and then did drums. You did voice and then did guitar. Is it really voice, or is it just audio input? Is that a better title for it?
Microphone. You'll see a microphone icon that actually comes up there. Like, let me go there again to, let's see, track, new track. So when you go to new track, you get these 4 choices. It says record using a microphone or line input or drag and drop audio files, which essentially, I dragged and dropped an audio file, which was that drum loop, right?
Okay.
And then I used the microphone to record. If I chose this one, connect a guitar or bass to your Mac, and I'll do that in a few minutes. What you have to do that is some sort of audio interface. What is an audio interface? It is something that allows you to plug in microphones, guitars. It's a piece of peripheral equipment that's not your computer, that allows you to plug guitars or microphones or other instruments into, that then via a USB port or FireWire or whatever connects to your computer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why didn't you pick drummer for your drum track?
Why I didn't pick drummer for my drum track is they come up with their own select drum tracks, and it doesn't give me that whole window of all those loops. And there must be some way around that to make it more. I could get to those drum loops easier, but I couldn't figure it out right away. So I just used the audio thing, and it can pretty much, it doesn't affect the quality, and you can just see the whole list of drum loops. Whereas if you select drummer, there's just a very limited list of drum loops. I'm going to cancel this because I'm not going to do another one right now.
I had a question about that window, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just the thing about
I did wrong.
GarageBand is that there's so many options, and in that particular window, I thought, well, wait a minute, okay, because there's some other options there. Yeah, so down below the 4 boxes at the top, with the track types, it says, I want to hear my instrument as I play and record. That's another option. And then you choose your input, and it says my instrument is connected with Yeti stereo microphone. So that's a drop down menu. So if you drop that down, it'll give you options. Okay. So yeah.
I don't use that there. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and create this, and I'll show you where I actually end up. I just create this, and it says Guitar 1. But
okay.
I'm going to use that in a few minutes, but keep going with your question and or comment.
Pete, I have two questions.
Hold on a second. Cheryl?
Well, yeah, so I had sent you my question in the chat box, but so again, in GarageBand, there's so many choices. Once you've identified a few of the loops you like, whether it's drums or something else, can you stash those someplace else in a favorites list so you don't ever have to like, oh my God, I'm spending hours digging through these endless, like, what does that sound like? Is there a way to do that?
That's a good question. I haven't done that. There should be a way to do that within GarageBand. I just know from the ones I've used that I can find them easily because I know what I want. But it's a good question.
Okay. I'm done.
Okay, there was another question, Holly?
Yeah, so two questions. One, so as you have the headphones in, you hear both the drum track and the metronome through the headphones?
No, I just hear the drums.
Okay.
The metronome just clicks off the first 4 beats.
Oh, okay. Cool. And also, I have a collection of external loops because there are a bunch of free loops online. To use those, you just drag and drop them the same way that you do from the loop library.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can actually just take an MP3 file or whatever and drag it in there. Like if I want to play over a song that's already recorded, and I have an MP3 or whatever, I just drag it in there.
Cool.
I have a question.
And yes.
Yeah, is there a certain audio interface that you recommend or?
The one that's very popular, I'm going to send you this information too. It's a Focusrite audio USB interface. I actually have a Focusrite, but it's a fancier one. It's an 8-channel one, and it's like $400 or $500. But there's a Focusrite 2-channel audio interface. It costs about $110.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a bunch of them out there, but that seems to be a very popular one.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Question on the mic, Pete? I'm sorry, I'm up. Hey, if you do have an audio interface, does that mean you don't need the USB microphone?
Well, you would need a microphone of some sort. You could plug a microphone into the the audio interface. So, yeah, you don't necessarily need a USB microphone. I just find the USB microphone much more convenient. If I want to do something quick and dirty, I just plug that in. With the audio interface, I have to, plug a microphone in, get level on the interface, and then that interface going into my GarageBand interface, and it depends. And you can get, if you use an audio interface, you can get better microphones, better quality, and even in a thing like GarageBand, you can get a really good sound. So you could potentially record a CD quality recording through GarageBand with some decent microphones and an audio interface. The USB microphones are not considered as good. I guess because they don't have their own power source, or the USB power thing it limits the range of the microphone. But I think for these purposes, for like a practice thing, this USB microphone's plenty.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
Yeah, this is Steve. I had a question about what if you wanted to do a drum break at the end of the first section?
Okay, good. I'm not very good at doing drum breaks, but I'm going to show you something that you could do. So let me go back. So first off, you'd have to find a good drum break that you like. So let's go back to our loop browser. Let's see. Here's shuffle fill. I'm going to take it, but it's 8 beats long. So oops. Sorry, every time I do that. That actually sounded kind of cool because it was like the shuffle, which is a little tag at the end. So what can I do? What I can do is just simply, let's say I want to do that at the end of the 12 bar. So I take this and I delete it, and I take this shuffle fill and I throw it in there. That's a really quick and easy, dirty way to do it. Now,
Thank you.
That's like real simple way to do it. Yeah, you have to kind of go through those drum beats and try to find out. That's nice that they had that there. When I initially was trying to look for a good shuffle beat, they didn't have them here. And what you see, if you look at these, this list of loops, you see these ones here that are shaded. You can download those. So they're not in there already, but you have a little download button. It's kind of hard to see, but it's a little circle arrow thing. And you can just hit that and it will download that to your computer. And so you can bring that one. I'm going to cancel because I don't even know what that is enough. I don't know if I want it. But so you can, so you can, again, there are, a bit of searching you're going to have to do to find drum beats and so forth. Again, I'm not really sort of worried about that in the context of a practice thing. I just want to quick and do it. I like having drums on a blues track. It sounds good, really good. But as far as practice is concerned, I don't really care about a bunch of fills or fancy things. Oh, someone was saying something there. I couldn't quite catch it.
Hey, Peter, it's Martin. I have actually do a lot of changing the pitch through Audacity for band. So somebody sends me an MP3, but it's in the wrong key because it's singer, da da da. Can I use GarageBand to change the pitch control, the MP3, and save it, and export it, and send it, change the keys, transpose it?
I don't think as far as I know, it's not a good tool for that. When so like if I slow this down, let's just, it's just the quality, I think, of the instrument suffers. Let's say I'm going to take this and I'm going to reduce it down to 80 beats per minute. So I'm going into my tempo thing and I'm reducing it. Now let's listen to the quality. I'm going to solo that. If you listen to guitar, the quality is
Muddy.
Yeah, it doesn't sound as good as it did before. It's still, I did record from a distance, so it does have a bit of that room sound thing going on. So that's definitely affecting the quality as well. But I don't know that it's probably a good tool for pitch changing.
Okay. Maybe at the end you could let me know what you like. They don't make Audacity for the new Catalina program, so
They don't.
Not yet, or as of 3 or 4 weeks ago.
All right.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry. I was wondering, like, you set up this 36 bar situation. How do you then loop that so that you can keep practicing more than just 36 bars? Do you have to manually do that, or is there a...
Yeah, no. Good question. I meant to show you that with the 12 bar, but I kind of wanted to wait. So you see this bar up here, this gray bar? If you select that, you see these, now you have these yellow bands. I'm going to go to the back end of my rhythm. I'm going to hit shift. Oops, I didn't do it. Well, let me go to 16 bars and hit shift and click. Hey, all right. I guess I have to drag it. Okay, I'm dragging it. I thought shift click would work, but I can just drag that to the end, and then once I get here, it'll loop. I don't want to go to the back end and do that again. Why won't play from where I want it to play?
You're just demonstrating the frustrations that you run into with GarageBand.
Anyways, you don't want to go through the whole thing, but that'll loop it back to the, maybe it's because I have it on loop that it doesn't want to go to where I put my playhead. Yeah, I guess the loop's just going to make it go back to the beginning again. But so that, see that little loop button right next to the record button? I selected it, how far it went via that yellow bar up there. So it will just keep cycling that.
So as long as it's highlighted yellow, that means it's going to loop back to the start.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
But you have to select how far you want
Sure.
it to loop.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I had a question about recording more tracks of your own.
Mhm.
So you've got these 2 tracks.
Right.
So, you know, and I know that it automatically gives you that count in.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's say that you record another loop, guitar, whatever, another track. You've got to really work with that count in, because once you, I mean, you need to be able to start playing at the end of that count. Otherwise, is there any way to fix it if you're like, you screw up or something? Because it always has that, I've noticed. So how do you make sure you sync what you do on the other tracks that you record?
Well, check this out. This is my guitar track, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to select it and I'm going to move it.
Oh.
So now I've got 2 measure count in. Now, obviously I lost a bit of drum, but so I need to add in another bit of drum there. I added way too much. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I didn't put it where I wanted to. Let me do this. Control C. Control. So yeah. So what I did was I just shifted my guitar 2 measures in.
Okay.
So now, and when I hit that record button, I will now have a 3 measure count in. I'll have the click, 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 and then the drums will be 2 bars. It gives me plenty of time. We did talk about that, putting that fill in with the drums. Okay. I want to show you this guy now. So if I'm actually going to get rid of this. I'm going to go back. I'm going to get rid of this. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to actually select a track again. New track. And it defaults to whatever the last thing I selected was. In this case, connect a guitar or bass to your Mac to play and record through virtual amps and pedals and effects. So I'm going to create that. So now I have that. And it's going to give me a selection here of sounds that will exist on the track. So I want to use a bass guitar. I'm going to use clean bass. And since we've got a 60s shuffle, I'm going to select a 60s combo. Now below, you can see I have different selections. Actually, when I record, you're not really going to hear what that bass sounds like until afterwards. It's kind of weird. I'm not quite too sure what to make of that, but I'm going to record a bass track. So I have a bass guitar here. I'm going to move my guitar somewhere where it's out of the way. Now, I'm going to plug the bass into my audio interface. I wonder if maybe I could do this. Kind of want to show you the audio interface, but it's let's take this camera. Excuse me. This is my back up a little bit. My audio interface. It's got crap all over it. Yes, I know. This is this is a Focusrite Sapphire. It's an 8-channel mixer, and that plugs into my computer via a FireWire port. Sorry, I'm gonna put this here. Now, you're probably not. It should be coming through. You guys won't be hearing my bass other than the acoustic part of it. You were asking me about all those. Cheryl, you were asking me about all the things that I could use. So, what I'm actually going to do to get the input I want is I'm going to go to Input. Actually, I'm going to go up here. GarageBand Preferences. And I am going to select Audio. And for the input device, I am going to select Sapphire. That's my audio interface. And then down here, it should be selected. Sometimes I have to toggle between it. Okay, go back to Sapphire. Now I can see I'm getting signal from my audio interface into my GarageBand 60s combo. Again, I don't think you guys can hear that, but so now I'm going to record a bass track.
Okay, can we mute everyone again?
Yeah, let me do that. Actually, just mute yourselves because I can't do it without losing the screen. All right. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to record a bass guitar track to go over my drums and guitar track. Oops, I made a little mistake there. Okay, now here's what we have. That's just my bass. Guitar back. And if I'm listening through headphones, I can do things like pan things from different sides. Like I could pan my bass to the left, that's to see this little wheel here. You just use your mouse to move that cursor or to move it over. So now you move things to different sides. Okay, so now I can do a couple different things here, but let me stop again and see if you guys have questions. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you have a question.
Hey, Pete.
Yeah.
Can you use a guitar and then change the pitch on the guitar to substitute for a bass with a kind of decent sound?
I don't know. I see. I could like try to like put a.
Or are there any bass loops?
I haven't worked with the bass loops. No, don't know. If you could go into your loop browser, let's see what we got. If I go to instrument, it probably is. I haven't really worked with that part of it.
Before you switch to that screen, yeah, right there, there's like a bass,
I see the bass on the right.
like a synthetic bass, and would that bring up loops?
Electric bass, yeah. What I like to do, though, as far as, like I say, is a practice tool, and I tell this to a lot of my blues-related students, is you can create a bass line right on the guitar. And this is a good sort of way to educate yourself. And obviously I'm talking about a blues thing right now, but if you're not a blues player, you can, I guess you can grab loops from anywhere, but I think it's a good thing to understand what a bass line is in a blues, in a 12-bar blues. The form is it's simple enough, 12 bars, 3 chords, that if you can create patterns, your own pattern, then you're educating yourself. You're learning how to play the instrument. You're because sometimes that's what the guitar players do, is they would play a bass line. If I grab my guitar, I can mix up things where I'm playing my bass line. It kind of, in a way, it kind of defeats the purpose of using this for this workshop, in the sense it's like just put loops over everything. Like, why even play the guitar? I mean, I can find a guitar loop that does the same thing. I really am a sort of advocate for find out what a bass line is. You know, how do you play it? You can play it on the guitar. The thing I played on the bass, I just played on the guitar. In fact, also it's from a more of a bluesy context. I want to put another layer on here, and one thing that blues guitar players would often do is try to emulate a horn section. If you hear like sort of big band Texas blues type stuff, bop, 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 they do these like horn stabs, right? So I'm going to do another guitar, and I'm going to emulate what sounds like a horn stab, and see how that kind of fills out the sound on my what I have on my GarageBand track so far. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do track. I'm going new track. Use microphone. I've never used this before, Cheryl, but that's, you can do that. You can just come over here and I could say, I want the microphone. I don't think I need to do that. It's the microphone. And let's get that. Create. Okay, here's I've got signal. For some reason it put this between my bass. I'm going to actually lower this down here. Click on that, and I'm going to call this Guitar 2. I'm getting plenty of signal. I'm going to turn the volume down here so you guys will only hear my guitar. You won't hear the rest of it. But then we'll listen back to it and hear it. So let me try this. Okay, let's see what we have now. Put these back on speaker. Can adjust levels. So now I got a little fat recording backing track that, you know, it's kind of fun to play over. It's got, you know, it's got your basic shuffle. It's got those drums in there. It's got a nice bass line going on, and those horn stabs that I was talking about. And yeah, go ahead.
Pete, I had a quick question. It sometimes you go direct through, and then the other time you selected a sound from the library.
Mhm.
What was the difference? Why did you do one and then do it differently the other time?
You mean with the bass?
Yeah, why select that versus just playing the bass directly in?
Well, I don't have much control. Like when I'm playing my guitar, I'm playing through an amplifier and I'm getting the sound I want through the amplifier.
Ah,
With the bass, I don't really have much choice other than to try to use the sounds because I want to get more of a. They have like what we call a '60s combo. I want it to sound more like a bass from a 1960s amplifier.
so it just affects the sound. It doesn't affect the overall. And you're miking the amp
Yeah, I'm using
when you
like I
do
said,
the
like
when you do the guitar one and guitar two,
right.
and with combo you're going directly through your box, right? Is that what it is?
Right, yeah, yeah. So I'm going into the interface for the bass. I don't have a bass amplifier here.
I gotcha.
To play my bass to this amplifier could possibly wouldn't sound very good. So
I gotcha.
so
Thanks.
that's why playing the bass through the interface actually works better for me.
Great. Thanks.
Pete, this is
Yeah.
Anne.
Hey, Ann.
Hi. If you wanted to practice with other people, can you send this and have them add tracks as well?
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't know the best way to do that.
Okay, so what you would do is you would you do the save. So I already saved this once, so I'll just save it again. And so I called this like a Pete's Blues and E or something like that. And then I could just email or Dropbox or something the GarageBand session to them, and then they could
Okay.
add on what they want.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's this. I guess in this the COVID era that we're living in, we can't. It's hard to get from musicians to get together and play.
Right.
Um, that's another issue as far as just trying to jam online. I haven't found something that works. I've heard about a few different things, and nothing seems to really cut through the latency or the problems with that. But yeah, if you want to like record, put a project together and send your session to another person, but they'd have to have GarageBand, of course.
Mhm.
Um, there's also a software called Logic, which you have to pay a couple $100 for, but it's also developed for Macintosh, and so you could actually, I believe you can import a Garage session into a Logic session, which has more bells and whistles and things to work with.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Pete, I have a question. To control the volume of your individual tracks, it's that pan knob, right?
Not the pan knob, but just this slider here. So,
Oh, okay.
so if I'm like, I'm gonna turn my bass up. You can barely hear the bass now. Yeah, so it's that slider.
Thanks.
And you can mute these things, right? I don't know if you saw me do that. Like there's this little, with a little speaker with a slash through it. So now my drums are gone. I also should show you this. So when you're done, and let's say you want to save this whole thing as a file, MP3 for instance, you go to the share and you say, I do export to disk. I don't really want to burn it to a CD. So I do export to disk. And then, so now I can save this, and you have these selections here. You can save it as an MP3 file. These are better quality AIF WAV file. MP3 file is going to be smaller and make it easier to send on an email, for instance. So Piece 12 bar blues, I just say export, and it does this thing. You can see it working to bounce the tracks down, and it's going to keep the levels I set, right? So all the levels I put for those various instruments is being saved and bounced down to. So now, now I can just go back and have an MP3 file that I could play in whatever I play MP3s on, whether it's your phone or whatever. That you use as you could use as your backing track. You don't need to actually go in here and have to play through all this stuff. I mean, you could just go out here all. Yeah.
Do you have any tips about how to use the bottom controllers, the controls and the EQ at the bottom? Any tips for that?
Not really per se. Here, I don't. You can go down here. You can like say I can take that. Let's take guitar 1, and I could go down here and you have track master EQ. It's just a matter of what you subjectively like to hear. Like I could boost up the bass on my guitar. Actually, I think I'll bring the bass down because it's sounded a little bassy. And I can come over here and I can adjust the highs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute these other things so I can hear the guitar. So I could just play with that slider to get the sound I want. You go to these other, so you have compressors and stuff like this. This is, again, this gets more in the realm of like, hey, am I creating a project that I want to, make a CD or whatever. This is just, you can put a compressor on here. You have to hit the switch. Get a difference.
Yeah, definitely there is a lot of layers to this tool that we can learn.
What's that?
Looks like there's so much, so many layers of this tool that we can learn.
Yeah. I mean, you could go in here and you can play around with this quite a bit, and you get lost in it. That's the one problem I think is that you could get in here and just start fiddling with all the little toys, without. And my main, and like I say, I use GarageBand not to create a beautiful. When I go to record a CD or something, I will actually go to a studio. I want to have an engineer do all the microphone placement. I don't have great microphones either, so I just have the USB microphone. But I want to focus on my performance and not have to worry about a lot of technical goo. So I just use these as, I could use this as a tool to workshop songs I'm working on. I can listen back to it and I can say, that sounds good. That I need to work on that part. Blah blah blah, or layer things, or just figure out what should the bass line do. I could go. So I go into a studio. Can someone everybody mute themselves? I'm hearing a lot of noise out there. Yeah. I don't want. I could go into a studio and I go, this is essentially what I want the bass line to be, and you can still get whatever who's playing bass for you a little leeway, but they get the idea of, when I've gone and hired musicians to do recording projects, I've made my own tapes or recordings like this, and they go, okay, we got it, we got the idea, and then they can say, I want to add this or something. Like, yeah, whatever, that sounds great, but at least they're not, totally uninformed about how you want the sound to be, So.
Hey, Pete.
Yeah.
Is Logic Pro, which you mentioned a minute ago, is that something that just basically professionals use? I mean,
yeah.
Is it something you should, like you said, I mean, I like your idea of kind of focusing on just learning the guitar rather than trying to become a music producer or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, who do you know that uses Logic Pro instead of GarageBand, and why?
Several of my engineers friends use Logic. They also use things. Pro Tools is kind of been the industry norm. Logic and GarageBand are really developed for Apple products. Pro Tools was developed for whatever platform, and it's been around for a long time. So a lot of studios use Pro Tools, but a lot of studios will have Pro Tools and Logic, and there's a few other programs out there that, so they can kind of transfer the knowledge they have from one thing to the other. They will look a little different, and they have to have, some specific knowledge of that program. But yeah, I mean, you can get in real heavy to the stuff. Like you could get in here with, if you're an engineer, you could get in here and say, I want to look at this little part of this thing, and I'm going to blow this way up, and just kind of start tweaking little, waveforms and stuff like that. That's not me. I don't do that. I have no interest in doing that.
Neither.
Yeah, no, I just, like I say, for me, it's all about performance, getting a performance I'm happy with, and feel like, okay, I've got that part worked out. That's done. And move on to the next thing. Make up a bass line. I can make up a bass line. I feel comfortable with, if I had a real bass player, I could get someone who could give it a little more flavor or something like that. But I know the basically how I want it to go. But I can also investigate sort of things about, what could I do with my guitar to add in sounds and flavors and things, It's good. It's a good opportunity to explore your instrument and see, like I've got my 12-bar blues. I know there's 4 bars of E, there's 2 bars of A, there, back to 2 bars of E, so on and so forth. What can I do with that? What can I, it gives you sort of a background that you could go, like I could pick up my guitar and I'm going to unmute everything. Let's see. And I could just experiment with different ideas, different ways of playing E. Hey. B. A. Oh, I got more. Apparently I looped it and wasn't even aware of it. But that, so now I have this the opportunity to explore my instrument a little more and go, like take an E chord. I know not everybody's a guitar player here, but I could take an E chord and sort of chop it up, play it in tune first off. Different versions of an E chord, and I can chop that E chord up now and just see what that sounds like. You can even I could create a groove, a track with just one chord, right? And I could just what are the possibilities of what I can play underneath this chord? Stop there for a second. More questions.
Yeah. This is Steve. I had a quick question. You moved guitar 1 2 measures in,
Right.
so that you would have a 2-measure drum intro, right?
Right.
Did you extend it by 2 measures at the end?
I extended the drums by 2 measures at the end.
You did. Okay.
Yeah, maybe you didn't see that, but I
So you moved it to 18 instead, I mean, whatever, to 14 instead of.
38 measures instead of 36.
Gotcha. So you just did, just repeated the.
That's why my edited 36.
Got it. Got it. And the other question, just a quick, could you show one more time how you moved guitar 1, 2 measures in? I didn't quite catch what you did.
Yeah, what all you got to do. So it looks like the track is selected, but to select the actual the actual track, I click like that. You see that white stripe white that comes above. Now I just click on that with my cursor. I move it.
Oh, and you just drag it. Okay, got it. Great. And then you have to add the two measures at the end.
Yeah, I just added the drum track, which was the same.
But just for the first go around.
Right.
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 Okay.
Yeah, because then when I recorded these other two, I'd already done this little modification. So when I got to the bass,
got it.
R2,
Great.
I'd already done that.
Good. Great. Thanks.
Related question to that. Before you moved the guitar track, you'd already modified, you'd already set the turnaround for the drums.
Oh yeah, I did.
Actually getting early.
Yeah.
But you've got a bunch of, all of the guitar tracks, all the instrumental things are one long track, but the drums are 100 different little drips.
Yeah.
How do you move that whole thing over the way you did the guitar? Is it possible?
I have to do that. I have to go in there. Well, yeah, I have to go in there and select.
If it's involved, don't bother.
I have to just go in there and just select everything. So I have to go piece by piece.
Okay, gotcha. There's no way to sort of blend or melt them together or something.
I bet there is. I bet you can do a thing where, and I don't know how to do this. There's supposed to be some sort of edit thing where you can select all those and make them as one thing.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
At least this is Martin. At least in Logic, if you hit Escape, there's a toolbar that drops down, and there's a scissors and there's a little glue stick that you put it on the seam, and you can create. You take it so they're no longer seam. There's no seam between it. You glue it together. Yeah.
I think we.
But is a different. It might be under edit. I don't know. But a different question. Yeah, different question.
Yeah,
Martin, do you like Logic over GarageBand?
No, it was too complicated.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and then when I tried to use MIDI, this was my other question was is the audio interface still MIDI? Because when I would save something and when I bring it back up, the MIDI channels, I got different sounds. I got completely different. If I was an experimental avant-garde musician, I would have said, "Oh, look, this is very,
interesting.
It's ahead of my time," but it was just a screw up.
Yeah, quite frankly, I've never worked with MIDI. I haven't done it at all. So,
Hey, Pete, can you go back over how you are getting your amp mic'd up into your computer? Are you just using a USB mic, the Yeti?
I'm just using this USB mic.
And you just put it close. How far away from the amp do you put it?
Well,
mess around and figure it out.
I got a long enough cable where I could actually, let's say, so there's my cable. So this is my microphone. My amp's down here on the floor. Let me actually record with the microphone close to the amplifier so you can hear the difference in sound. Can you guys still hear me? Talking? Okay. So I'm going to mute guitar 1. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do a piece of this. So
that's fine. I was just curious.
can't hear the difference between that guitar and the other one. Here's the first guitar. So a lot less room noise there with the microphone right next to the amp. Kind of a better sound.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Oh, hey guys, it's Martin. I do see up in the edit button, I do see in my GarageBand a little pair of scissors, so that part's still there. But also if you go to edit, down at the bottom of the edit selections, there's join screen and split. There's join two seams and there's split the seams at the playhead.
Join,
so those things are there.
join regions, yeah, okay. Okay, cool.
And what does that do?
Let's see if I can do this. Join regions. Non-contiguous IO regions require the creation of a new IO file. All right, do it. Ah, whoa, that's weird. Okay. No, that's right, though. That's what it did. So I just did that. So I selected that drum shuffle thing, and I went into edit, and I just hit join regions, and that's what it did. It's already been done. So.
Got it.
So you probably wouldn't want to do that until you're happy with your arrangement.
Pete, I've got, I'm going to have to sign off in a minute, but I wanted to just ask you if, or anyone, so I'm glad we're going to have access to this recording for a week, or you're going to send it out, right?
Oh, you have access to it as long as you want.
Oh, okay. Is there can you recommend is there a GarageBand tutorial buried in GarageBand, or just because I know that when I go back to try to do something with it, I'm going to go, wait, what happened to that? Where's that other menu or something like that? Is there a secret access to GarageBand, or what do you recommend? Or you just have to mess with it until you feel comfortable with it and you don't,
Basically, what I've done, it's just, this is the nuts and bolts of what I've done to get to do this specific thing.
Okay.
I'm sure you can find a bunch of good tutorials on YouTube. I've used YouTube tutorials, not for GarageBand, but for iMovie and stuff like that. And there's some good ones in there.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great, thank you.
Sure. Couple more questions and then.
Hi, Pete. This is Dennis. As I mentioned, I'm not actually an Apple person, and I was just wondering if anybody knows or has opinions on how much of something like Audacity might have in common.
Martin, you said you work with Audacity? Yeah, I use Audacity because I've got a band that I lead. We constantly get someone, let's take a song and record it this way, but then the singer says, I can't reach that, so I got to change the key and send it all out. So I use it exclusively for changing the pitch, and it works great for that. I can do it in about less than a minute, and shoot it out. But I'm having a little adrift because the new version of the new operating system for the MacBook Pro Catalina, Audacity hasn't figured out how to reprogram their product to be compatible with Catalina. So I don't quite know how I'm going to, how I do it now is go back to my old laptop, which is really, really clunky, but at least I can still do it. So anybody who has a better way to do it, let me know.
Audacity is a pretty popular program. I would assume that they'll get up to speed pretty soon. What do you think?
Well, I guess my question is really if we could do a lot of the GarageBand stuff on Audacity, because I'll probably be stuck with a PC for a while. That's the basis of my question. Huh.
Yeah, Martin, what's your opinion? Can you just the multi-track by the way we just did?
I've never done anything with it except to pitch control.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I had Logic.
Okay.
I had a free version of Audacity, which is long since expired, so I haven't really worked with it. But.
Okay, thanks.
The answer, Dennis, is you need to go get a Mac. That's just.
Yeah, right. Sales in the back room.
I just happen to have a couple of Macs.
Right, laying around.
Hey, Pete,
Yeah.
should we just send you a check, or how do we pay you? Did I pay you already?
I don't know, Mark. No, no, you didn't. PayPal, Venmo. You can use my.
I'm sorry, I am a 20th century guy. I don't use Venmo. And PayPal, the owner of PayPal contributes too much to right-wing causes for me to.
Oh,
A friend with Trump, so I refuse to use it.
oh,
Yeah, but you're not giving the money to him. You're giving it to me.
Yeah, but he makes a dough off of the program.
I
I've never used PayPal in my life.
I appreciate your ethical
yeah.
stuff. Yes, you can email me a check or not email me a check, mail me a check, and I will send you my address. Just say, hey Pete, I'm gonna send them a check. What's the address?
Got it.
Email.
Will do.
Hey, Pete, can you say a little bit about the blues workshops you've got coming up? I did get the email, but I was hoping you could just do a little little promo thing here briefly and what the flexibility is.
Thank you, Cheryl, for.
You're welcome. Check's
Good
in the
idea.
mail, or you can put the check in the mail.
All right. No, I don't use mail. I'm just kidding. Well, maybe none of us will be. So this is a finger picking blues workshop, and it's a 4-week class for 4 Saturdays, and I'll be teaching the nuts and bolts of acoustic pre-war blues guitar. So it involves playing an alternating bass. It also involves playing in tune.
Freight train.
I'm not going to do freight train in this particular, but yeah. I'm not going to do freight train in this particular, but this is not actually. We're not going to do any songs in this first 4 weeks. It's just going to be exercises. There will be some 12-bar blues, but it's mostly about alternating bass and then playing a single string bass. So those are the things we're going to cover. And it is my hope in that 4-week series is establish the fundamentals of finger picking for early blues and then do more sessions where I teach songs from the genre. So it'll be, hopefully it'll be a continuous thing. But I didn't want to jump right into songs with this particular class. I want to make sure people have a really good solid foundation in alternating bass and the monotonic or dead thumb bass. So.
Okay, I'm interested, but I feel like, I mean, I can do those basic things now. I might email you about it or something.
So
Just
what you could do,
Yeah.
Cheryl, is if you're comfortable in that already, then you might say, well, let me sign up for the second session. I will send out emails about what's the lineup of songs I'm going to do. So you may be like, oh yeah, I'll join in on that because I want to learn those songs.
Sounds good. Okay, thanks so much, Pete.
Okay, take care, Cheryl. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you say again, like for Venmo, is it just your name, Pete Madsen, or is it Buzzy Frets?
It's under my name, Pete Madsen, but my handle on Venmo is Buzzy Frets. So
Okay.
either one of those should get you there. But look for because there's other Pete Madsens on Venmo, I think. So you don't want to go to that submarine guy who killed.
Okay. Just want to make sure I'm not sending it to some other Pete.
Yeah, no. And this has happened to me before. My middle name is Christian, and I'm signed up with BMI, which is distributes royalties for music, and some of my stuff that was used on a television shows was sent to another Peter Christian Madsen.
I see it. You just came up. Yeah, thanks.
Good, cool. Okay, folks. Like I say, I will upload this recording to YouTube you will have access beyond a week. I'm just going to leave it up there unless I run out of space on YouTube. No one's told me that I'm using up too much space on YouTube yet. So you can have access to that, or if you recorded yourself, you have access to it, for your own edification and so forth. But I hope this was useful for you. Like I say, I'm not an expert on GarageBand. This is simply how I've used it as a practice tool, and I also think it's a great creative tool. Just for learning how to get complementary parts made. So thank you, Mark.
Thank you so much. I think this is a wonderful session, and I'm going to take a lot of this information to collaborate with my friends. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Marcella. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Pete. Very helpful.
Great.
Really great. Thank you.
Great, guys. Well,
Pete,
don't get one last word. Don't get frustrated, because whatever you create, you can recreate. If you create something and it just you totally blows up on you, yeah, you just do it again. It's just experiment. In other words.
Pete,
Thanks so much, Pete.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Ann.
Yeah, thank you. This is awesome. This is a quick question on Zoom. How did you share audio with us?
When you do the share screen,
Yeah.
There's a little box down at the bottom that you have to check to share the audio.
Okay, I just haven't seen it. Thanks.
All righty, folks.
Thanks, guys.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Pete.
Bye. Thanks for attending, you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stop the share. Stop the sharing now. All right. Take care, folks.
See ya.